As the country takes stock of the performance of the matric class of 2025, math and science remain the most contentious subjects as far as the pass rate is concerned. But not for Free State physical science teacher Lerato Ramabodu, who has just achieved a 100% matric pass rate for a 9th consecutive year. The 31-year-old teacher who started achieving this 100% streak at the start of his career in 2017 has taught at different schools and is currently the deputy principal at Makwane Secondary School, but continues teaching to inspire others to strive for greatness. And he joins us now to tell us more about this achievement and the secret to achieving a 100% pass rate for nearly a decade. Let's talk about that. Good morning. Good morning, Lerato. Thank you so much for your time.
Good morning, ma'am.
Now, we know that many teachers struggle, especially in your part of the country, with overcrowded classrooms, limited resources, learner fatigue. What is your secret to achieving not only 100% pass rate, but 9 years consecutively?
I think the results, I give credit to where I started. I started teaching in 2017. I was a student from university. And then I happened to meet my then principal, who's now the second manager, Makwane NM. She's the one who took me under actually her wings in terms of showing me the classroom management, how to prepare for learners, and the importance of lesson preparations and all of that. And also the colleagues, I was thrown into a school or a culture where results are non-negotiable. All the subjects were performing in 100% across times. So I had to acclimatize and fit into the system.
Now, science, it's no secret, is seen often as one of the most challenging subjects. So what strategies do you apply to make it less intimidating and more accessible to the students?
Number one, you see, the most important, I think, strategy is the issue of learner absenteeism, as I have said. I always ensure that I minimize it to the latter. All learners who are absent, number one, the parents has to report in terms of their whereabouts. If there are no reports, then I have to ensure that I visit their homes to check their well-being. What is the problem? Because if they miss the lesson, they will miss a lot. Remember how much I have prepared for the lessons. The issue of learner punctuality during classes as well. And also, I want to give credit to parents. Parents always support me wherever I come from. I'm from Lerato. Parents supported me. Parents supported me even at Makwane. So I think this achievement is not mine only. Also, the dedication from learners, the support from parents and the community as well.
I love that you've mentioned that, because oftentimes, parents think that academic success is purely the responsibility of the teachers. We send them to school, it's your problem, but it actually is a partnership. How do you involve the parents in the journey of the students?
Number one, I hold them accountable for absenteeism, because when the academic year begins, I have a meeting with them to tell them about the modus operandi, what is expected, the issue of learner absenteeism, and how we roll. I communicate with them effectively. Tests that are managed. There are targets that are set to learners irrespective of their abilities. The 60% target for physical science in that of the examination. So any learner who goes beyond the threshold expected pass percentage in test, maybe once or twice or thrice, the parents has to account in terms of when the learners are home, what are they doing? Because I'm saying, I'm expecting them to prepare even for weekly tests. So the pass percentage of learners emanates from the weekly test. They perform well on the weekly test because they are on the standard of the exam. So on the examination, they just reflect on what they were doing on the weekly tests.
Now, last year, you walked into Makwane Secondary School as a new deputy principal. They had an 81% pass rate in physical science in 2024. You took over the class and pushed it to 100%. So take us inside that transformation and what it is that you saw that others may have missed.
And like I say, most of the time, the credit is not only mine. Even the teacher whom I found there, the credit also goes to him because there was a collaboration or teamwork between us. Want to own the credit. But I will say, the first thing I did when I came there, I was on a mission to say all learners has to pass, irrespective of the challenges that we meet and and all of that. So I had to introduce the issue of 6 a.m. that all learners has to attend 6 a.m. classes where we try to to fill in the content gaps that might have been there in terms of the analysis and all of that. And sometimes we go beyond the norms, we knock at 10, sometimes at 2 a.m. But every time one these learners complain, I always, remind them in their hearts that remember we have an opportunity, actually a responsibility to go to universities. You need to go to University of Cape Town. Makwane is a rural place, but I'm saying, despite the conditions and the background they live in, I believe that they can access top universities. University of Cape Town, the West University, Pretoria University, and all of that. Yes, ma'am.
Now, walk us through a typical day when a student is struggling with a concept in the classroom. What is that Lerato magic, that Lerato touch that you apply to turn a struggling student into a passing student?
Can I be honest with you, ma'am? In physical science, we don't have a lunchtime. We don't have a lunchtime. According to the analysis of weekly tests, all learners who are struggling are ensured. Remember, the weekly tests are marked by me, irrespective of the number that I teach. They are marked by me so that I'm able to see the gaps, the content gaps. Maybe during the teaching learning process, some learners have not yet understood what I said. So I will be able to identify that when I'm busy marking the weekly test. And during the report of the weekly test, the analysis report, all learners who are underperforming, every day at break, they are at my office. They visit my office consistently. They take their food from the NSMP, visit my office, and then we reteach the topics where they did not understand. So I ensure that I leave no learner behind.
Now, many of your learners, as you've indicated, come from very difficult backgrounds. I mean, they study by candlelight, they share textbooks, they walk long distances, but you somehow manage to keep them motivated. What message do you have for other students in other parts of the country where they may be coming from difficult backgrounds and yet almost use that as an excuse not to get ahead?
Ma'am, I believe that education is a leveler. They don't have to come from big houses, to be from, privileged families to access these top universities. When you go to university, the only thing that they want is the results, nothing else, irrespective of, the wealth and the economic wealth of their families. Even a child of a domestic worker can access the University of Cape Town, can access the Stellenbosch University, University of I've seen them. I've seen them. I've seen them going, packing their clothes and saying that Ramabodu colleagues leaving. I'm going to vet university and all of that, irrespective of the background. Now they come back to so that they come back to the community and change back the narrative. Man.
Now, with the 100% pass rate, what was the average mark of the students overall?
This said because I was there just for a short period of time. I think it was for 2 months. They went to 48 something.
Hey. And then tell me something, like you've cracked that code that many schools are still searching for, right? So if the Department of Basic Education, for instance, asked, what would you advise at a national level, right? What would be your advice on fixing the science education system in this country?
No, that's a third question, but I believe, ma'am, it comes from the teacher side, the dedication and the passion and the desire to want it. I think it comes from an individual teacher to say, I want to achieve this. I want to see this learner, reaching this maximum level and all of that. Strategies can be there, ma'am, but as long as there are no implementation, then it becomes a problem. We can strategize even at the national level, but the executors, if they lack, then that is where the problem is.
That is fantastic. We are so proud of you. Thank you so much for your time. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, ma'am.